9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
I woke up at, it was 8:30 on Friday, and I kind of slept in, which is kind of funny, but I noticed the whole sky was red, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then everything went dark for a second, and I said, okay, this is even weirder, because I was expecting the sky to be red because I know there was a fire somewhere, but I didn't realize how close it was. And so I got out of bed, and I looked through my window. We live on a creek in Malibu. It's a dry creek. And I look out my window, and down my creek I see the fire. There's literally fire on our property. The flames are about 20 to 30 feet high, so about, I think, 10 meters high. And the brush was very high, so the dried stuff was just very high already. So I freaked out because it was so close, and I had to kind of collect myself for a second. I said, okay, what do I do? And what I decided is the only thing I could really take with me, I had to leave immediately, and the only thing I could take with me were my animals. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get my cats, I'm gonna get my hedgehog, and I'm gonna drive away as fast as I can, because I wasn't sure how much fire there was. If it was right in my house, I knew it was probably around my community. So I run out to I quickly put on clothes. I ran out to my kitchen, and where the cats were, and I called them. I said, Juniper, Zeus. And they looked at me, and they saw how freaked out I was, and then they just ran opposite directions. And I was like, what? I was like, I have to chase my cats now? Which was the most annoying thing, because I had my plan, and now I have to chase cats to catch them and put them in their boxes so I can get them. I got our fat cat very easily. I just I just went in with a broom, and I ran it under our couch, and I got him out, and he was just like kind of stunned, and he said, he was like, what are you doing, man? He's like, why are you so crazy right now? So I got him, I threw him in his cage, and then I had to chase our little cat around my bedroom, and the fire's getting closer this whole time. So it took me a few minutes. I had to overturn all of our bed, and I had to overturn all this stuff to get our little cat, to get her in, and then I grabbed my hedgehog, which was very easy. He doesn't run away. He's just in the cage, and I drove away as fast as I can. Unfortunately, there's two exits. I'm in the middle of Malibu, so I have a horse property, and I live in the middle of Malibu. We're in the middle of the mountains, and there's only two ways out of my community. And unfortunately, and I have video of this. Both of my exits, I tried driving down each street, and both of my exits were blocked by raging fires on either side of the road, and the smoke was so dense I couldn't see more than a few feet. Which was pretty scary. What I was worried about was, I was worried I was going to run over some burning debris, and it would melt my tire, because my tires are rubber, so it would just melt it, and then the cats would die and the hedgehog would die. So what I did was I found a little place that a clearing, and I just parked my truck there, and I kind of waited. I waited for, there's a house in front of me burning. There are houses on all sides of me burning. Like, it was crazy. The fire was out of control, and the fire wasn't moving forward in like a line, like you typically think fires do. Because the wind was so crazy, the fires were all around, were completely around me. So different houses were on fire, and I couldn't, it was hard to even tell which direction the fire was coming from. So I kind of waited for 20 minutes, and I was hoping that the fire would blow over because I was in a small parking lot. And then I realized that I actually might die of smoke inhalation because the smoke was getting thicker and thicker where I was. But fortunately, a fire person came by in a truck, and he showed me the correct way. He showed me a way to get out, and he just told me, he said, drive through the smoke this way, and once you get on Mulholland, I'll be safe. So I basically had to drive through the fire a little bit, but I got on Mulholland and I was safe. So that was, I still had to drive out through more fire, but it was really scary. It was one of the few times in my life, I've done a lot of crazy shit, but this was one of the few times in my life where I was like, oh, I actually might die today. And that was kind of hard to deal with. We wanted to live in nature, in the mountains. And we bought a 4.5 acre horse property in a beautiful location in Malibu. I was going to get a horse and I was going to ride it into the park, and I'd be able to camp or sleep. We had deer in our backyard every single morning. It was awesome. It was awesome. Every night, and it's beautiful because we're out in the mountains, so I see shooting stars every night, and it's hard to get that in LA. So it was our dream. We had worked so hard to get to this point, and then we just see it kind of vanish. And I also have a wife and a 2-year-old daughter, and I have another baby girl on the way. So this was, this is for our family. Fortunately, my wife and my baby she was staying at her parents' house that night because she had to go to see the doctor out on that side of town. But yeah, it sucks. And we have her family. My wife is Persian, so we have old Persian rugs that are priceless, that have been passed down from her family. We have, all these really, mementos from our childhood and stuff like that. So it's, I have furniture that was built by my grandfather, who was my grandfather moved out here from Czechoslovakia, or from the Czech Republic, and he was a woodworker. He built furniture, so I have all this stuff, and yeah, it's all gone. I just try to keep working, and try to spend time with my wife and my daughter. I try not to think about it too much, but it's a big it's a big change of life. We're rebuilding, and we're hiring an architect right now. We're in the process of finding a good architect to rebuild our house and to do it again. We're not going to let this set us back.